Hello and welcome to a very special Comics News Burst Live with me, Christopher McLeod AKA Diagnostic 80, brought to you this time by Distant Planet Comics and Collectibles. Now, I was going to go live with this yesterday, but the day just kind of got away with me. Obviously, some big news popping up that Scarlet issue 1 was doing all sorts of cool stuff without even being technically out yet. And there was a Kickstarter update. So I wanted to kind of do that first on today's little comic book news burst. And then who knows? We might, once this is finished, it will only be short little episodes today, I think. But once this is done, maybe we'll follow it up with another little news burst where we talk possibly about some other stuff that's come up today regarding the possibility that we may be looking at another Entertainment Earth drop zone hint at G.I. Joe. But it's all speculation at this point, and I actually don't know what it is. So we'll probably be talking about that after this. But first, we're talking comics. So if you just, what's the word? If you just stay, we'll just stay for this, and then we'll do that afterwards. But we will be completing this as an episode and then moving on to the next thing. Anyway, let's see how tonight goes. Hopefully you're all doing well. Let's get stuck into it. It is kind of Scarlet and Kickstarter news, really. Yes. So first things first, and we'll start with Scarlet issue 1, and that is breaking all sorts of crazy sales records with over 80,000 pre-orders. Means that it's set it has set a record for the first kind of time for this particular, like just this issue, just this number 1. Now this doesn't count obviously Cobra Commander, because I think that's going to break 100,000 easily, but that has had multiple reprints, etc., right? Scarlet issue 1 has just come straight out the gate and been very, very popular indeed. And like, this is from Bleeding Cool as well. They were the one that posted the article initially with those kind of with those numbers. And it's no surprise, really, in my opinion, that the that anything Skybound G.I. Joe related is doing really well, because they are fantastic issues, fantastic comics, amazing stories, beautifully drawn. Everything has been absolutely smashed out of the park so far. And effectively this is the Scarlet issue 1 is the best-selling G.I. Joe comic book in over 2 decades, which is quite impressive, is it not? Now, you have, I suppose we have to kind of not caveat this, but it's worth mentioning that obviously this appears in the Energon universe as well, right? Now, I'm not saying, I don't think it's got really much to do with Transformers fans also wanting to get on board with this, but I don't think it's beyond the realms of possibility to think they want to in on the whole Energon universe. I know most Transformers fans that I tend to talk to or interact with, it's different. The ones I interact with seem to like both Transformers and G.I. Joe, because we're usually G.I. Joe fans as well. But I have got friends that are just Transformers only. I've got friends that are, and well, I would say friends that actively hate the other brand, like love Transformers and just don't give a crap about G.I. Joe. Not necessarily hate it, but love Transformers and hate and don't really care for G.I. Joe, and vice versa. And I know people that absolutely actively hate Transformers. It's weird. Personally, I'm all over all of it. I'm happy to have all of it coming at you. So I don't know how much that plays into it. Obviously, Skybound has, and Kirkman and all that kind of stuff has got to bring sales to the table, because IDW had the Transformers, IDW had G.I. Joe, and it was really tanking. So I think that there's a lot of other factors that have come into the success of Skybound, but at the same time, Scarlet as a number 1, when you think of Duke, Cobra Commander, even Destro, for Scarlet to be the one that is blowing up in sales as well is pretty awesome. Destro is probably going to be hitting decent numbers as well. And like I said before, the Cobra Commander, I think issue 1, that is definitely breaking some, that's going to easily break 100,000 at some point. But that is also lots of variants, lots of reprints, I should say. So that's gone on like multiple reprints, that first issue, which is crazy. In any case, this is really great news. And like I said, this was obviously yesterday, and I couldn't do the burst yesterday for whatever reason, and my apologies. So I'm kind of playing a little bit of catch up for those just joining. Yes, Josh, I will get to that on the other episode that will follow this one. We'll talk about the drop zone later on tonight. But yeah, Scarlet issue 1 miniseries, absolutely going nuts. And we have had previews of Scarlet. We have had 5-page previews of that first issue, and it actually looks kind of fun, where she's infiltrating a party, and she's on the lookout. But by the sounds of things, based on the blurbs, she's looking for Jinx, this Arashikage, ninja, and it looks like as well, based on other issues, that Storm Shadow is going to show up. Randomly, Snow Job's going to show up, so I'm interested to see how that one works. Paul says, I'm supposed to do these every single day for the rest of my life, Chris. I sort of am. Like, Monday and Tuesday got away from me. I was really hoping to do Blowtorch soon, but that is getting harder and harder, Kitty said, to get the graphics sorted for. So yeah, I will try and do episodes every single day. It's just life gets in the way sometimes, you know what I mean? So in any case, I know you're only joking as well, Paul. Sort of. I know you're sort of only joking. Yeah, so really excited with what Skybound are doing at the moment, and just wanted to gush really over this sales record that Scarlet is absolutely decimating right now. And I also would say that based on the issues we've seen, the mini series we've seen so far, obviously Duke and Cobra Commander were cool to come out of the gate, and they were both absolutely phenomenal pieces of work, and that's proven by the fact they've both been reprinted multiple times in multiple issues as well. So that's crazy. Josh says, stop working and eating. We want these every day. Sure. Love the covers I've seen for this one so far, says Paul. Yeah, we'll talk about one of those covers actually, because that is a little bit of news. Pop Gore posted this beauty. Now this is the cover done by Deegan. Apologies, Deegan, for getting your name completely terribly wrong. But I believe, I suppose I'm going to say Deegan Puchcores. Puchcores. Let me know how much I'm just decimating your name. My apologies. Anyway, he's known as Pop Gore on Facebook and so on and so forth, guys. So go check him out. And this obviously is another cover for Scarlet issue 1. Quite a cool one in the snow. So at least we're kind of getting an idea of why Snowjob might be incorporated in future issues. He kind of appeared on a cover recently. Looks awesome as well, like the classified kind of styling with that kind of patchy grey and white kind of colouring, which I still don't understand. The deco on Snowjob looks great. Don't get me wrong, it looks awesome on the classified figure. I just don't understand why the choice of where the grey goes, because it's not like super symmetrical, is it? Like, it is and it isn't, but I'm sure there's one bit where it's like one up, one down. Anyway, ginger team up. That's actually quite true, actually, Paul. Yeah, it is a ginger team up, isn't it? Redheads unite here with Snowjob and Scarlet. That is a really cool cover, Josh. Absolutely. Now, I just wanted to shout Pop Gore out for this one because it is really cool. And another wicked cover for Scarlet. The covers for Scarlet's issues have been phenomenal as well. Like that one with Jinx on the front, where not the recent one with her and Jinx is really cool, but there's the older one in like issue 1 where it's Jinx in the kind of foreground. It's basically that one. That one she's in the background, Scarlet's in the foreground, and you've got kind of like ninjas and and all sorts going on in the background with helicopters and so. It looks very, very movie poster like. I like that one. But this is a really cool one. We're loving this one. Now, as well as Scarlet, we've also had very recently revealed a new Duke cover by Jeff Spokes for issue 2, which is getting another bloody repaint. My goodness. So yeah, more printings and more variants basically for Duke. And again, it's just pretty awesome that we're seeing so much. I don't know, such a strong period of comics love at the moment. It's just absolutely amazing. Barking Fridge already hit up the artist for a commission. A Popcore, brilliant. 8 to 12 month wait. Well, I'm sure it'll be worth it. Absolutely. Felix says life interfering with Joe updates. Preposterous. I know, whatever. I know, right? Paul says I just picked up 4 different covers for Cobra Commander 5. Going to be drawing in variant covers. Yeah, totally. Evening Newfie. And I will say as well, today there have been more comics in stores, G.I. Joe related. We've had all these Cobra Commander issues, of course, in shops today. Issue 5. I have read it. It's amazing. And I'm not going to give any spoilers away now, because obviously it's only been out today. But it's an absolute beauty, and it really kind of ties the whole kind of series, the whole mini series together, and it's just been a great little story of how, like, Cobra Commander, Cobra La, I'm sure you know that's involved now. That's hardly giving any spoilers away really at this stage, but like how they've incorporated those elements. And I even really enjoyed what they did in Free Comic Book Day for the Energon special. That's really cool too. So anyway, amazing stuff. The storyline is great. I am absolutely buzzing. Berries everywhere. Well, berries just buzzing everywhere. And Paul says, I literally just picked it up, reading tonight. Can't wait. Dude, it's amazing. It's amazing. Newfie agrees. Issue 5 is fantastic. It's a great issue. Not just that, it's just a great miniseries. And it's such a cool way to introduce these characters into... I do have some questions, which again, I'm not going to ask because it will probably contain spoilers and stuff. Mainly for, like, I say deaths in comics, but no one really ever truly dies in comics. Josh says, fine, I'll buy these on Kindle. Yeah, do that. That's what I've kind of been doing, actually. The occasional, when I have had the opportunity, I've been getting them, in hard copy. But for the most part, yes, I am doing a classified live a bit later today, Stanley. Yes. As soon as I finish this episode, we'll kind of back to back it with the bit of information that popped out today. It's only going to be short. This is only going to be short, and that's only going to be short. We're going to be talking very soon about the Kickstarter update, and then that'll bring this episode to a close, and then we'll move on to the possible classified rumor, I guess. I suppose it's not rumors, it's everyone speculating when they see a Drop Zone post, and that's totally fine. I do the same thing. I'm like, oh, what could this be? So we'll get to that in a second. But anyway, comics, amazing, brilliant stuff. And yeah, Cobra Commander issue 5. If you haven't read it yet, make sure you do. And obviously, if you're waiting for some comfort time, I know how, I used to have like that period, like when I was getting comics, I'd get like a stack from Abstract Sprocket in Norwich. Shout out to Abstract Sprocket, love that store. To Nigel and Dean in Abstract Sprocket, love that store. Anyway, I would get like a huge stack of issues from them, and I would, I wouldn't just rinse through them. I'd have them in a priority order. So like the ones I was like, I was excited for, but not like, I bought quite a lot. I was doing like them in X-Men and what was I doing at that time? X-Men, multiple Aliens and Predator issues. No matter what was out, I was doing whatever was coming out for those. All the G.I. Joe issues that were out, the Transformers issues, and then obviously... what else was I doing at that point? Wolverine. And then he died and was kind of like, it was that whole thing where he was killed off, but then not really. You know how it is. What else was I reading at that point? Loads. I had to stop reading. I forget what it's called now. It was that like Crossed. I had to stop reading Crossed because it was making me depressed. Did anyone ever read Crossed? No spoilers in the comments or anything, but like, my God, it was like a take on zombies, but not quite zombies. It was like a like an infection, basically, that caused people to act a little bit like that. But it was almost like they had as part of their brain that it affected, where there was no consequences, so they just did crazy, horrible things. And if you got infected, you'd have this red cross appear on your face like this. And it was dark and horrible. And I got it initially because it was quite interesting, but it was always like it's certainly not aspirational. It's just like every one of those dystopian things where it's like, oh, we've got an outbreak, everyone's gonna, it's horrible. So, and it just was so depressing. And I would finish reading those and be like, I need to break for a couple of days and not just everything has to be positive. Everything has to be like puppies or kittens on my feed. I cannot even think about it. Anyway, if you haven't read it, I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying, in actual fact, if I'm doing anything, I'm probably the opposite. I'm kind of like saying, don't read. But if you're into that sort of stuff, go nuts. It's very dark and it's very shocking. And that's, hard to do nowadays. Like the kind of desensitized people that we've all become, the amount of horrible things we've had to see and witness, whether it be on the internet or just in general. It's difficult to shock sometimes. He says that. I say that it's difficult to shock me. It's not really. I was in tears after episode 5 of Blue X-Men 97. Like I had my mouth like open the whole time. Doomed says they killed Wolverine, but they had Old Man Logan. That's true. Yes, absolutely. I was reading that as well. I remember reading that period of time as well. The kind of Old Man Logan kind of mini kind of series with Hawkeye and what was it, Hulk and all that. Oh yeah, that was crazy. That was quite a cool little mini actually. I quite enjoyed that. Anyway, side thing. I like to put it all in priorities. I read everything in a certain priority order, and I always leave GI Joe for last. Save the best to last, and that was what I did every single time. But now I'm only really reading Transformers Void Rivals, GI Joe, and I'm doing it as soon as it comes out. Like as soon as it comes out, I'm reading it straight away. So I'm not doing that thing where I'm like stacking, like a pull list or anything. I'm just boom, it's there, read it. That was amazing. I wish I could have that anticipation again. Oh, I have. There's another issue coming in a couple of weeks. Yay. So that's another thing about Skybound. The rhythm with which they release issues, next level. And it's basically, we've kind of had to. I remember when IDW, and I'm not trying to bag on IDW or anything, because I did enjoy a lot of what they produced. I did enjoy the comics for the most part. There was some stuff that fell a little bit flat, like Revolution and the crossover and everything. And there was, lots of reasons for why that fell flat for me personally. But when they did it right, I was all over and I loved IDW stuff. But my goodness, when you were expecting an issue to come out, it would be like, right, new comic book day. I'd go to Distant Planet. This was in Missouri. Shout out to Distant Planet Comics and Collectibles. Love those guys there. It's amazing. Love that place. And we would go there. We would get like our pull list or whatever. And like I would do it. I would read an order. Yes, Invincible. Yes, I have, Josh. In fact, that reminds me of Irredeemable and what was the other one? Irredeemable and I can't remember what the other one's called. But I love those kind of comics as well. I really enjoyed those two kind of like same universe sort of things, like the bad guy who's actually the good guy and the good guy is actually the bad guy sort of narrative. It's really cool. But yes, Invincible I have, Josh, and I've been enjoying the show on TV actually. It's quite cool. Yes, Irredeemable is amazing. And the other one, which I've completely forgotten what it's called. It's Irredeemable, and I always forget what the other one is. Anyway, someone will probably say in the comments at some point, but they're really good. Definitely get the trades or go back and find, back issues or whatever. They're really, really good. And constant twists as well. But anyway, so save GI Joe for last. Now, the problem with IDW, I'd go in on New Comic Book Day, and it would be like, here's your pull list. And I'm like, where's GI Joe or where's IDW stuff? And it's like, oh, they're late. They're going to be coming in next week by the looks of things. And it'd be like every single time they would be late for the day that they were supposed to. Sometimes it would be like a couple of weeks. Sometimes it'd be a week. Sometimes it would be like a few days, and they'd come like a few days like later. And it's like, this is New Comic Book Day. Why are we not getting them now? They just seem to have a real difficult time of landing distribution. And it wasn't just in Missouri; it was all over the place. They're having this issue, and So the fact that with Skybound so far, this rhythmic kind of cascade of issues has been brilliant. And if you are going to do um if you are going to do like a, a crossover sort of series and have multiple issues spanning, it's the perfect way to do it, so that people are like, well, if I've got to wait for GI Joe, I might as well get Transformers and see what's going on GI Joe wise in that. Not a lot most of the time, but there will be the occasional thing, especially like Void Rivals. There's a crossover. I mean, Void Rivals and Transformers are mainly crossing over. Like that's where the main crossover is happening at the moment. GI Joe is kind of like gently caressing it at the moment. But at some point, it's going to be like, and that's what I'm waiting for. Josh says, yeah, comics are a lot of work. I'm drawing and writing my own right now. I know there are other artists on here. Oh, totally. And I'm not blaming the artists for that. I mean, there's a workload issue. There's a one of those things, you know, it's the situation of like maybe not being managed correctly. Do you know what I mean? But at the moment now, it just seems like Skybound are just, you know, but not just churning it out. It's carefully, you know, they're thinking about this pattern, and they're thinking about the story, and they're thinking about the quality, and the quality is through the roof. So good. And to the point where it's like, oh, we'll get better, do some more covers. And that's the thing, like, you know, getting all of these different artists to do covers, phenomenal stuff. I hope we get Classified Mercer. It's, 100% Nictimus. That'd be great. I'd be surprised if we don't. I remember IDW not being there a lot, says Felix. And yeah, that was the case, wasn't it? Now, okay. So a big shout out to Distant Planet Comics and Collectibles. And also let's move on to the next little element of this. And that is that we did get a little update from Skybound regarding their Compendium Kickstarter. Now we're only a week away now, just a bit less actually, which is exciting. And we've got small images, which is images, but then mushed together with a graham cracker, a marshmallow, and some chocolate. Weird. So also I said Graham, and everyone in the UK is going to be like, what? Graham is what we would call it, a Graham cracker. Now, they did give us a few little images of the other compendium piece, like art as well. So the side panels of all four compendium pieces. Now you've got, obviously we've seen Snake Eyes. We've also got Scarlet in there. We've got Stalker, and we've got Duke. So that's pretty damn cool for 1, 2, 3, and 4. Good selection of characters on for the Joes there. And of course, for Cobra, we've got Cobra Commander, we've got Serpentor, we've got the Baroness, and we've got Storm Shadow. Anyone a little bit surprised not to see Destro? I'm a little bit, but not that it makes any difference. There's still, I'm sure there'll be more compendiums to come. Might even be more options when it comes to the Kickstarter. But in any case, a little bit more information. Obviously, we're a week away. All the links in the description if you want to sign up early. If you sign up now, if and when you pledge for a physical copy of whatever level, could be just one copy of one thing, as long as it's a physical pledge, like you get something physical. I'll just keep saying physical. Then you will get a little Storm Shadow trading card, and I think as well on top of that, the trading cards. There are other trading cards that come as a set as well in here, which is very excited. Anyway, can't wait for these. Love the art they've chosen for the compendiums. Same actually, Paul. It's really nice, isn't it? It's kind of like very vintage inspired. Feels like it's I mean, it is taken straight out of the comics, but again, like just very lovingly done. And I'm with you on that. An actual coherent strategy, indeed, Paul. That was talking about Skybound. I'm in for those blue ones or digital ones, says Josh F. Just got an email. My Jinx pre-order from Amazon moved from May 31st to August the 2nd. Ugh, that's a shame. Sorry to hear about that. Paul says, can't wait for these yet. So done that one. Graham equals Graham. Yes, figure six pack. We say Graham, don't we? Actually, where are you based, figure six pack? I can't remember. I'm not sure if you're being British or if you're being American there. Newfie says, that compendium set is killing me, trying to avoid, but I may not be able to hold out. I'm kind of like thinking, I don't need a compendium set. And then I look at these and I'm like, Paul says they've moved that wave back. I'm okay with the breather. Yeah, in terms of May 31st to August the 2nd, though, May, June, July, August, that's a 3-month push. Well, it's a 2-month push, actually, isn't it? It's 2 months because it's the end of May. It's very close to the beginning of August. So May, June, July. May to June to July. Yeah, it's 2 months. 2 months and a couple of days. So to be honest as well, like, especially if you're paying for it when it comes in, sometimes that is the case, sometimes it isn't. Sometimes you pay for pre-orders up front, depending on where you get them from. But if you're paying for a pre-order and and that payment is going to be taken at the time of delivery or shipping, then I would have to say that when you're dealing with a number of months, it's a bit delicate for a lot of people who are kind of planning for that. The other thing is, a lot of the time I would say it's not an exact science, really isn't. Things can happen, things can delay stuff, and I would just say, like, keep your options open if you can. And if you can't, then maybe you have to wait and not do pre-orders. Maybe you just have to wait for them to kind of hit stores, which again and it's difficult for some of us. I know, like, we want it straight away. I've managed, like, since I've had to pause that for a little bit, it's been really nice just finding the occasional figure in a store. Like, I found Metalhead Mutton Junkyard very recently and was really kind of like excited to just find them in Target and just be like, wow. So, and that was nice. I managed to pick those up as well. So like I'm kind of happy to just see it as and when now at this point. American figure 6 pack. Okay, cool. No worries. With a Cookie Monster emoji. I think that's Cookie Monster. It looks like, or it could just be a blue face with a big mouth open. It just looks like Cookie Monster, doesn't it? But it's probably not. Paul says, I'm thinking I may need one of each of the compendiums so I can be Joe and Cobra. That's the dangerous part here. This is going to be expensive anyway, but I can see this being, get one of each then. And it's just like, really? Probably won't. I would probably, if I do go in for this, I'll probably just pick one of the other, and I'll probably be more Joe than I am Cobra, so I'll probably go blue. Josh says his 2 Jinx and 2 Night Creepers also delayed until August the 2nd. Yeah, it's not a surprise at the same time, though, is it, with that? Anyway, that is all the updates and all of the comics news this Wednesday evening. I am actually going to bring it to a close there on a nice half an hour stop, and then you're going to have to give me a few minutes to get prepared for the next episode, but we'll be bouncing straight back with a little bit of that speculative news regarding the drop zone kind of information. So I will see you guys over there a bit later on. Like I said, probably in about 10 or 15 minutes. I will need a little bit of time to get everything lined up, but see you over there in a little while, I guess. Stay fresh cheese bags, and as always, after 3, you know what to do, because you'll be doing it again later tonight. 1, 2, 3, full force. See you in a few minutes. That's it for this installment of the Full Force Comics News Burst. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. See you next time, and as always, full force. Make sure you get involved with the discussion by liking, sharing and commenting on these videos, and as always you can keep up with the show after listening by following on X, formerly Twitter, @The Full Force, liking the Facebook page, facebook.com/The Full Force. We've also added a brand new Instagram, so check us out there as well, @The Full Force Podcast, and if you would like to contact the show you can message us on any of those platforms with feedback and questions. We also have a Patreon page, so if you want to show your support for the show, see your name up in lights on these videos, or enjoy exclusive bonus content, then check out patreon.com/The Full Force Podcast, or click on the link on any of the posts this podcast appears in. Full Force.